Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. The window to invest in Fanbase is closing. We've raised over $10.6 million of our $17 million goal. That means there's room for less than 6,370 people to invest in Fanbase for the average amount. The minimum to invest in Fanbase right now is $399. That makes you an owner in Fanbase today. Go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest. Why? because current social apps have taken advantage of users for far too long, with content suppression, shadow banning, harmful racist content, and no real tools for monetization and equity. Fanbase has over 1.4 million users and counting, allowing anyone to reach all their following and monetize their content from day one. Social media is the new TV, and whoever owns the apps that distribute that content have the opportunity to own potential billion-dollar companies. While big platforms with uncertain futures are failing to serve their users, Fanbase is stepping up to fill the gap. Don't wait until it's too late. Invest now, invest for yourself and your future. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and own the next generation of social media.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now. Black power.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? What's up, folks? Today's Thursday, April 24th, 2025, coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. St. Augustine University officials, they meet with community leaders, elected officials. After we told them, elected folks, to get off their butt and do that, we'll tell you what happened in the meeting and what is going to happen next. Also, folks, on today's show, a federal judge tells the Trump folks, y'all can't be in the DEI programs K through 12. We'll break it down for you. Also, the Trump folks, they dropped an HBCU executive order. Let's just say it's 1,000 words of bullshit. We're going to break it down for you on today's show. Plus, a dozen states are suing the Trump folks, claiming their tariff policy is hurting their economy. We'll break that down for you as well. Plus, in California, a federal appeals court will allow sheriff's deputies to resume conducting warrantless searches of people released before trial. Lots we gonna break down. It's time to bring the funk. I'm Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, y'all. It's Roland Martin, rolling with Roland now. He's funky, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now.
Federal judge has significantly limited the Trump thugs from ending DEI programs in K through 12 schools. U.S. District Judge Landy McCafferty said the policy, which the Department of Education described to educators as textbook viewpoint discrimination, is likely violating the First Amendment's free speech protections. Although the judge did not issue a nationwide order to block the policy, she has prevented the administration from enforcing it against any school that employs members of the National Education Association and receives federal funding. Her preliminary injunction comes after a short-term agreement between the administration and challengers to delay the policy's implementation. The agreement includes a certification process that requires schools to provide specific information for the judge's review and was set to expire on Thursday. At least two other courts are currently considering challenges to this policy. Let's talk about our panel. Joining me in studio is Tiffany Dean Lofton. She got way too many damn titles to talk about, so she's on the show. Glad to have her here in studio. Dr. Greg Carr, Department of Afro-American Studies at Howard University out of D.C. Reese Colbert, the host of the Reese Colbert Show on Sirius XM Radio out of D.C. as well. I'll start with the educator on the panel, Greg. Look, it's real simple. Trump, they're idiots. We know they hate DEI. The real DEI is Donald, Eric, and Ivanka. But what this is all about, it is, as I've been trying to tell our folk, it is to completely destroy the civil rights and the economic rights infrastructure. That's what they want to do. They're attacking textbooks. They're attacking teaching. They do not want education being taught that actually is the real American history. They still want that fallacy that white educators have been teaching for more than 100 plus years. You're on mute.
Okay, thanks, bro.
Now we got you.
Thank you, brother. Yes, sir. You're absolutely right. And we know that this was what was always going to happen in terms of process. You know, as we've been saying all along, you know, there's a 5-letter word, C-O-U-R-T, and there's a 10-letter word, injunction. That was always going to be, and this will always be the role of the courts, particularly the federal courts. When they put that clown, when they read those executive orders that he hasn't read in the Oval Office, and they stick those pieces of paper down in front of the clown, and they give him his little crayon to scribble his signature on, and he holds it up with that stupid look on his face, that's all a distraction. Some of the stuff may slip through, much of it won't, because it is unconstitutional, as the judge said today. District Judge McCafferty said the letter doesn't even define what DEI is. And so it absolutely violates First Amendment. And of course, John Roberts has been taking a hacksaw to the First Amendment for decades, allowing some things like corporations and billionaires to control federal elections. That was the thing that set all of this off, the Citizens United case. And this Roberts court has clearly favored this concept of association over the Establishment Clause. There's no establishment of religion. And so finally, what they've been trying to do is two things. Number one, on the First Amendment case, Tip, they've been trying to push their worldview as the normative standard in this country, and anything that doesn't agree with it as somehow being oppressive. That's falling apart in the courts. The second thing, which is a little bit more murky, they're trying to use our tax money as the weapon. That is the whole Project 2025 agenda, to use our tax money. So we're going to take money from you if you don't follow our worldview, follow our ideology. But ultimately, I think that's going to fail in the courts, too.
You know, look, Tiffany, you are working to organize and mobilize students across the country. You were the president of the United States Students Association, right? USSSA. Mm-hmm. And I keep telling everybody what this is all about. This is an absolute blowback from May 25th, 2020. George Floyd gets murdered, and you had young white people, Latinos, Asian Americans, woke about the realities of this country, and these folks, no, we gotta shut this down.
Absolutely.
So in 2021, they attacked Black Lives Matter. 2022, they attacked CRT. They ran people around the country for school boards, Moms for Liberty, and people were asleep. They were not woke, and that's how they took over those school boards. 2023, it was woke. 2024, it was DEI. They do not want white children learning the truth in this country, and so their whole deal is we got to wipe all this stuff out of K through 12 to keep them ignorant.
Not only that, 2008 to about 2016, so for 8 years, there was a very strategic right-wing campaign to dismantle how students on campuses across the country, college campuses across the country, spend their student fees to fight for advocacy and to do lobbying at the statewide and the federal level. So what that did was it prevented students from being able to advocate and fight for quality education, stopping tuition increases, protecting diversity, equity, and inclusion, and et cetera. The problem with this is that there is nobody so far that Trump has appointed or added to his team that I approve of that has supported public quality higher education. The fool that we have now, who's Secretary of Education, is a complete loser and bozo, and I don't trust anything.
A wrestling executive.
A complete loser and bozo, and has no affiliation with higher education except for the fact that she served on a board in Connecticut somewhere, even though she is aspiring to be an educator and a teacher. And so if we're talking about an advisory board that the White House is now saying that they want to implement to support HBCUs, I think it's a complete photo op and joke, since you have already attacked diversity, equity, and inclusion on our college campuses across the country. You have not given any more money to HBCUs, and now you want to add business leaders, community leaders, and educators that you will choose to be on the board. Let's be clear, Roland, I was not only the president of the United States Student Association, I was also the youngest person to be appointed to the commission at the White House under Obama's administration for the White House Initiative for Educational Excellence for African Americans. If you want to do this right, you don't just appoint people that you want to tell HBCUs what to do. You ask the HBCUs what they need, and then you give them what they need by having them be the advisors.
We're going to talk about the HBCU executive order in a moment. This judicial ruling, Reese, again, is critical because what this is about is they want to attack K through 12. They want to attack what is being taught kindergarten through the 12th grade because they understand you are speaking to the hearts and minds of young folks. That's what this is all about. This is about attacking the educational infrastructure. That's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, it's about indoctrination, right? The states already have so much latitude over what kind of things are being taught in schools, hence Florida saying that enslaved people got valuable skills they benefited from slavery, and Texas calling them workers and things like that. So I think that this is also about creating the pretext of being concerned about the curriculum, and really it's a way for them to target the Black and Latino and underrepresented communities with funding. The federal government steps in to bridge that gap between what the state provides and what the kids need because they don't have rich parents who have high property taxes that go towards school funding. And so this is on its face, obviously, an attack on the First Amendment and on freedom of education, but deeper than that, it's another way that they're leaving no stone unturned to take money away from our communities and our schools.
Well, absolutely. That's what you see going on here. And people just need to understand that they're not stopping. Let me say it again. They're not stopping. And I think too many people, Greg, and we keep talking about it, we talk about checking out of the process. Understand, you cannot stop this if you're not in the game. Come on. You've got right now, all across the country, there are local elections, school board elections. You've got city council elections. People need to realize that there is a way to resist what is going on here. There is a way to fight back. People are thinking, well, I don't have any power. No, massive protest, mobilization matters. I know people don't think that what happens in the streets doesn't impact what happens in the suites. Trust me, judges are watching how people are reacting. And if the reaction from people is, then policymakers then go, we can do what we want to do. But they are afraid when the people rise up and say, no, this ain't happening.
Absolutely. And it takes individuals who will take on the responsibility of being that spark to sometimes sit at the center of what is potential energy in order to spark that energy. That, of course, as you have told us many times and demonstrated with your daily walk, is the purpose of the Black Star Network. And hey, Tiff, student body president at Howard, was so grateful. I saw them the other day, and the invitation you extended for them to join in the organizing work that you did about a month ago. You know, they were so happy that you had reached out. And I'm making that point not only to, of course, always thank you for your ongoing work, but to emphasize the fact that if you don't have a Tiffany Deneen Lofton, then you often don't have the person who can then help other people understand that we do have the power. And Roland, you're making a very important point, particularly with this opening story, because when you talk about K-12, you're talking about everybody. You're talking about people's children, which means you're talking about the families, you're talking about the communities. And what we're seeing now with these white nationalists who don't have a constitutional leg to stand on, what you said at the beginning was very important. Moms for Liberty was able to do what they did because they were well-resourced. You had billionaires backing them. They're running on fear and hatred, and they had small little knots of people, including, as Lauren Victoria Burke calls him, the consensual manservant Byron Donald's wife in Florida, who were rallying them. But on the other side, you have everybody else in the country. And the minute you go into a school and say that you can't have curriculum that looks like the students in this school, well, that's then when you've struck a rock. Because now you've struck not only that child, but you've struck her parents, you struck her families and her communities. And then the potential becomes even heightened to organize. And as Kwame Ture would say, organize puts in place. But without those anchors, without those people like you and Tiffany and all the people doing that work, it's more difficult. But guess what? Those people are in place. And I think what we're going to see now is an increasing groundswell of organized resistance, which will ultimately overwhelm these people.
But the key here, Tiffany, it has to be organized and then mobilized. And I think one of the things that we've seen is that a lot of people just sort of believe, yeah, I'm posting on social, important.
Sure.
Hey, we're having a gathering over here. Okay, that's important.
Sure.
But those have to all be linked. If you're doing your thing, but you're not communicating what's over here, not communicating what's over here, then you're not taking advantage of collective action. What we're dealing with here, yeah, while these battles are happening in the courts, while these civil rights groups are suing them in the courts, you still have to have people right now, end of April, you got May, another 6 months this year, then you're getting ready for midterms.
That's right.
You got elections happening in November in certain states. People have to, this is the moment where the organization and mobilization has to be happening to build up to that point.
Let me say two things. One, I didn't get to say hi to my friends, so I just wanted to say hi, Reese. I miss you, I love you, and I can't wait to meet you in person soon. And Dr. Carr,
Tiffany.
hey, my love. And Dr. Carr, thank you. Not only for always supporting me, but also for the relationship that we have to be able to pull Howard University into the conference that we just did. We had 150 students. We had 62 legislative meetings, 39 campuses across 18 different states. And I'm just so overwhelmed and excited about the young people who are ready to continue to take action, both on the state and the national level. Roland, I really have to thank you and your entire audience, all of the fans, all of the viewers, all of the organizers and supporters of the Roland Martin Unfiltered show, because they were able to make that conference happen in the first place when we had that impromptu session. But let me say this, when you talk about organizing and mobilizing, it goes a long way. There were thousands of people who gave $5, right? Thousands of people who gave $7.50. And if thousands of people do that, that goes a long way to bring a delegation of FAMU students to come to the conference. Literally, that is how you are running your show exactly. And there's something that you didn't say that I want to add, which is we have to do the follow through.
Right.
We can't just do the pieces of mobilizing, the pieces of organizing. Not only is it all connected, we have to finish what we start. And so part of the conference and part of the work that we're doing, but even the work that we're doing, if we're going to resist and push back and organize for elections, has to be right now is the prep time. Midterms, primaries are already happening. Education needs to happen. People need to find out what's going to be on the ballot. Are we having not only in-home discussions, are we talking about it on the Black Star Network, but are we also bringing it to community members and in our schools and our workplaces, in our unions, in our NAACP chapters, at our churches? Are they having those conversations? And when we have those conversations now in the spring, it gives us the space to mobilize not just people who are already engaged, but folks that we can bring into the fold so that way people are not surprised. Let me also say this. All the rules are changing while we're talking.
Right.
We have to have a real ID. You might have to have a passport. People are getting misinformation about how you're going to cast your vote and how you're going to vote in the election, where your polling place is going to be, et cetera. And then again, we say this every single time we get on this show. Elections are not the end all be all, right? So there are town town halls that are happening across the country. There are young people who are running to replace Democrats in their seats across the country. There are virtual discussions that are happening to prep people for those conversations. And right now is the time for us to be able to do that, but we cannot just organize and mobilize. We have to do the follow through, and people have to show up in person, post on social media, donate, and have those conversations.
See, Reese, that's why what I say to folk all the time. I say, listen, the event on Saturday is really important. What you gonna do on Monday?
Right.
See, I don't believe in the one-offs. Look, we had a massive number of people who watched us on March 4th. Mm-hmm. And I appreciate all those people. 250,000 live views.
Record-breaking.
But here's the thing. What were they watching on March 5th? Because we were here. What were they watching on Thursday, March 6th? Because we were here. What were they watching on Friday, March 7th? Because we were here. And I say that because, see, I'm a firm believer that when we flex what we are able to do, ain't no excuse we can't do it again. And people need to understand, it's great to plan a march for a Saturday or a Sunday, but folk need to say, but what we doing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then the following Monday, and why are we gathering? What are we gathering for? What are we trying to achieve? And then when we achieve it, now what we gonna do next? That's really how we have to be thinking. So while the legal eagles and the warriors are doing their thing in the courtroom, we need folk in other forms doing their thing too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that you have 2 points that you made there. Number one, you were ready for that audience of 250,000 people, and you still did the work. Even when it became 250, whether it's 250, 10, 15, whatever, Roland Martin Unfiltered Black Star Network is here regardless. And so it's about recognizing that you got to be in it so that people can even access you when they're ready to access you. And there's cumulative work that allows you to stay in it and to be a go-to place for people to look for guidance. But the second point is the capacity that we have that we don't exercise.
There you go.
That 250, that says we got a whole bunch of capacity that we're not exercising on a daily basis. And I get it, people have stuff going on. Maybe people catch it on the replay. They didn't catch it live because it's less of an event when you can access it every day. But we have to start exercising our capacity. It's not that everything is our fault because we don't vote at 75%, 85%, 90%. We don't have to carry the country on our back. But for our self-preservation, we have to recognize that we haven't tapped out on what we're able to do. And as long as we have these tools in our toolkit, as long as the courts are holding, barely, as long as we get to have more elections, barely, as long as we get to run for office, barely, we have to do more to exercise what we have before we fighting and clawing a whole different kind of ball game, which I know Dr. Carr warns us about all the time. And Tiffany, thank you so much for all the amazing work that you do. It's such a pleasure to be here with you today and to be with this esteemed panel.
But I do want to pick up though on that particular the capacity point there, Greg, because I think it is one that we have to confront. Reese just said we don't want to have to carry the culture. I disagree.
No, the country.
No, here's the deal. I still disagree with that because here's my whole deal. If I look at numbers, if I just look at raw numbers, especially in places where we have a significant population, if we actually vote at 75, 85% of our capacity, we wipe other people out. See, if they stay here, and we're here, those vote totals wins. I was talking with a brother, a preacher, who asked me was I going to Reverend Sharpton's National Action Network Conference, and I said no. I said because I'm in my studio every day. I did. I was like, I said, I got work here to do.
I forgot we tell the truth here. Keep going.
I don't care. The show is called Unfiltered. And he said that they were having a panel conversation that Friday called The Black Church in the Age of Trump. I said, that's a waste of conversation. He's like, what do you think we should be doing? I said, what you should do and say is we are going to establish a NAN organizing committee of black churches, specifically in North Carolina and Georgia. I said, because in Georgia, there's going to be a gubernatorial race, there are going to be statewide elections, and Ossoff, Senator John Ossoff, who is yet to come on this show, even though I helped get him elected on January 5th, 2021. Yes, I said it. And I'm still waiting, and it's been 4 years and 3 months.
The whole panel.
I mean,
he's likely going to run against Governor Brian Kemp. I said, so y'all need to be focused on mobilizing the black church in Georgia.
Yeah.
I said, in North Carolina, we just saw in November, Democrats won a governor's mansion, lieutenant governor, secretary of state, attorney general, superintendent of schools. They stopped the supermajority of the Republicans. Allison Riggs wins the Supreme Court race, but Kamala Harris loses in North Carolina.
Because they cheated.
I said,
Facts.
y'all should be mobilizing the black church, especially the black belt in East North Carolina. I said to take out Tom Tillis in 2026 and to defend the black woman Anita Earls, who's on the Supreme Court in North Carolina. I said, that's the focus. I said, that should be your conversation. I was trying to get him to stop thinking macro and having, and let me just be real clear, having I don't know if it's unuseful, non-useful is even a phrase or a word, but it don't mean.
Waste of time.
I'm not interested in black church in the age of Trump, whatever, too broad. I said, we have to narrow our focus to achieve victories. And he said, I'm taking that to the panel. He said, to discuss. I said, that's where we have to be. I am not interested in these be-all, end-all, we talking about everything. I'm like, what we gonna do? I sat there at the NAACP Image Awards panel before the Image Awards in 2023. Leon Russell, the chair, was sitting no more than 15 feet from me. Jalen Rose was to my right. Kenya Barris was to my left. Kyle, who runs the Hollywood branch, I said, y'all, DEI is over.
Now
everybody looked at me like I was crazy. I said, I need y'all to hear. And they were like, dog, why are you so hyped? I said, because we're having bullshit conversations when the real stuff is happening and we act like we don't see it coming.
Can I?
Hold on, I'm coming to you.
Sorry.
But that was for Greg. Then you.
No, I keep mine short, Roland. As I've gotten older, I think I probably mellowed in this. I think that there isn't a one strategy. I have absolutely no investment in the United States as an ongoing criminal enterprise. That's the way I look at it. And I understand that everybody doesn't look at it that way, and I don't think that precludes operational unity and that kind of united front. I've been to the National Athletic Network conference on a panel maybe 2 times since it's been on, and no time in the recent years. I do think that there is a group that kind of congeals around that, and there are people who get fed that way. We see, for example, this movie Sinners that is out, which the white Hollywood establishment tries to poo-poo, but we make our own choices. And Ryan Coogler, over the years, has built a reputation in our communities that will now sustain him and sustain the kind of work he does, which feeds us far beyond our communities. I'm saying all that as a prelude to say this. You have to be where you are. You're paying your position. I was watching an interview that our sister Tiffany Cross did with a journalist from France that she shot right there in the Black Star Network studio. And Mike Harriet was saying the other day that that was only possible because there is a Black Star Network studio. And what I'm saying is that once we think about it in terms of United Front, then an Al Sharpton or a Jamal Bryant, you know, whether they're talking with the CEO of Target or not, at the end of the day, the messages don't have to all be the same. But when people are communicating with each other across ideological differences, across organizational strategy differences, that builds a compelling force. And I think at this point, that is what is going to allow us to continue this liberation struggle in this moment.
Tiffany, go ahead.
My bad for jumping in earlier. Sorry for interrupting you, Dr. Carr. Y'all know how I get when I get here. Dr. Carr, I wonder if you would agree with me. This is not a question that I think we'll talk about very long on the air because I think Roland will shut it down. But I just want to say that I agree with you 100%. You know, about not investing in the colonial America, the capitalist society that we live in, and I really believe that we are at a place as a society, as a people, where if we are asking for anything less than this administration to step down and resign, then we're really wasting our time. I don't think there are any other solutions or Band-Aids up into the process. I think we need to just have our first time of the people saying, we don't want you to be president no more, and you need to step down. That's just me, and I wanted to offer that. When I train my students and young people in organizing and talking about power, and I also want to shout out myself for finishing an executive leadership class at Harvard University to learn all about power and organizing. We talk about how there are different modes, if you will, of organizing. So people might get involved in doing things like, you know, giving out meals for the holidays to the homeless, or fundraising for people who might need money to pay for their legal fees if a police officer kills a Black person. And when we do that, those things are not wrong, but they never challenge or alter the relationships of power. They keep things the way that they are. And we need to do those things because our people need to keep our people. We're the only ones who got us. But then on the other end of the spectrum, where we're not challenging relationships of power, there are the things that we have to do to challenge the relationships of power, like lobbying, like calling our elected officials, like voting, like having direct actions, like protesting. I really believe that sometime soon, I know that labor has been talking a lot about having a general strike very soon, and I think there's a lot of possibility to talk about that as a strategy, as a tactic for the work that we want to accomplish, as long as we have demands. And I want to make that very clear to the labor folks who are watching. As long as you have demands with your tactics, it makes sense. But our folks need to have more of the, what are we doing to challenge the relationships of power and giving ourselves that power? And it's already been said here, and I'll reiterate it because folks need to hear it if they just joined. The only way we're able to demonstrate that power, or to use that power to change and improve the situations in our communities, is if we have relationships to one another. And the events that we have are great. They're important because we always want to bring people in. It's a never-ending cycle where we want to educate folks about what's happening. But if we only stay there, things are never going to change and we're never going to win. We have to be able to do the other things on the other side, which take risk, which require risk, which require us to also try things we've never tried before, which require some people to get loud and step out of their comfort zone. But we have to do those things if we're going to be able to make change. And just being able to talk about it at an event is not sufficient enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, again, I just need people to understand. I mean, first, do I believe they're going to step down? No.
I know you don't believe that, but
that's fine. But here's the deal, though. I don't think they're going to.
You also didn't believe that Kamala Harris is going to be the nominee for the election, and I said that too. So here we are.
Yeah, but I don't. Well, no. I knew that if he stepped down, she's going to be the nominee.
Of course, but we didn't know he was going to step down. I knew he was going to step down.
But my point is, folk can call for that. That's fine with me. What I'm looking at is.
You want to come with me to the protest?
No. Because for me, how I look at it, the way I study the board is I look at who's already there. I look at how long you're going to be there. But I look at how can I place limits on your power. So as I am sitting here, I had a conversation yesterday with a state attorney general. And so how I look at that conversation, the most important position right now in many of these states is the attorney general. Because when you see these Democratic attorney generals suing the administration, it's the exact same thing the Republicans did. The Republican state attorneys generals sued Biden-Harris. And it was their lawsuit regarding student loan debt. that went to the Supreme Court. So what has often happened is, when we think about in terms of Democrat, Republican, and the fact of the matter is, and this is what I need some black folk to just go ahead and accept and cut the bullshit, or I'm sorry, what's the new phrase?
What?
No cap?
No
Whatever
cap.
the hell, I mean.
You used it right. Go ahead. You used it right. That's it.
No, I used it right the first time. Cut the bullshit. See, I don't need to create a new phrase to say cut the bullshit. I just say cut the bullshit, okay?
Some people can't say bullshit. They got to say no cap. Go ahead.
Cut the BS. There you go. I say that because when you look at where our issue stands, y'all can sit here with all that, you a Democratic shield, you ignorant asses, come on my page, you always pushing the Democrats. Y'all, this is real simple. Who wants voting rights expanded and who wants voting rights curtailed? It's either yay or nay, it's either blue or red, it's either donkey or elephant. Y'all can sit here with the bullshit y'all want to, but that's the whole deal. Who actually believes in civil rights and then who doesn't? Who believes in due process and who doesn't? Who wants to allow prosecutors to withhold evidence to convict people and who doesn't? Who believes in reproductive rights and then who doesn't? I mean, we could just go through a whole lot of issues. So I'm not wasting time with you simple Simons and y'all silliness over, oh yeah, you should have tried to get us to vote Democrat. No, fool. I'm actually trying to get you to vote your interest. And what I'm seeing is people need to understand, if I'm looking to curtail power on the federal level, let me go back to what some of y'all simple Simons. See, I'm Scorpio. I don't forget nothing. I don't forget nothing. A whole bunch of you simple Simons who listen to these other simps with their YouTube channels who love to declare that they are new media, but if all y'all add all y'all together, y'all still don't equal me. Yes, I'm being petty. All you simps, I remember when y'all said, these judges don't mean nothing. Oh, I'm petty. I'm King Petty. These judges don't mean nothing. Ketanji Brown Jackson, they don't mean nothing. Them black federal judges, okay, all right, Biden Harris appointed 60 black federal judges. You know, I don't know that they really not black. Judge Chunkin is all over Trump's ass.
Yes, she is.
We are talking about a federal judge in New Hampshire.
Yes, she is.
The Republicans right now are so mad that they want to change the rules. They now want to get rid of lifetime appointments for federal judges. They now want to actually impeach federal judges. The same Republicans that praised one federal judge in Amarillo issuing an order that impacted Plan B, Peel all around America. Now they're like, no, one judge shouldn't issue an injunction that impacts the whole country. Oh, but y'all didn't mind it when y'all was there. Too many black people listen to these loudmouth, non-voting simps saying them judges don't mean nothing. And now y'all are seeing with your own eyes the power of the same federal judges.
Right.
And the federal judges that are ruling, a lot of them are conservative. The federal judges are ruling were appointed by Reagan and Bush. Some appointed by Trump because despite them being conservative, there are still a lot of conservative judges who actually believe in the rule of law. That's right. And they are not Trump apologists like Roberts, Alito, Thomas, Gorsuch, and yeah, Amy Coney Barrett. And I know I'm leaving one of them off, but they all the same to me. The point Kavanaugh. What I need people to understand is when y'all was shitting on folk like Reese and the black women who were out there protesting to have black women appointed to the federal bench, Oh, yes, that stuff don't mean nothing. Where are tangibles? Where are tangibles? Fool, that's a tangible. They are there for life.
For life.
For life.
For life.
And see, this is what I'm talking about, how I look at this whole thing. Right now, on a federal level, this is real simple. Take the House. So then Hakeem Jeffries has a gavel in his hand. If the Democrats control the House in January 2027, no MAGA bill can get passed.
That's right.
I don't think we're going to make it.
If Speaker of the House, if Hakeem Jeffries gets the gavel, y'all, in January 2027, they can drag every Trump secretary, every administration official down for a hearing. They can have hearing of the day.
That's right.
Y'all do Monday, we gonna do Tuesday. Y'all do Wednesday, we gonna do Thursday, Friday. Turn that shit into a daily TV show.
That's right.
Disrupt what they're doing. Force them to testify.
That's right.
And then you're preparing for 28. See, this is what I'm talking about. So while people are sitting here right now saying, man, we can't do nothing. We just gonna sit this thing out. We ain't gonna do, no. This is perfect takeover time.
Mm-hmm.
This is where I need black people, no matter where you live, going, okay, oh, there's a school board election taking place in September. Okay, when is the filing deadline for the school board? Are these single member districts or these are at-large districts? Okay, it's 9 board members. If we take 5 seats, guess what? We have a majority of the school board. Oh, let me go pull the last time they ran to see how many votes were each one of the people elected by last time they ran. And then when I pull that, let me now go pull the precincts voted and see, oh my goodness, the turnout in the last school board election was just 12%. So that means that if I move the turnout from 12 to 15%, we can win. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, let's see here. Let me go pull the financial reporting form to see, oh man, that person ran for school board last time and all they raised was $12,000. Oh, right. That person raised $15,000. Okay, so if we go get us a slate and we run 5 people and then Tiffany said those $5 and $10, then we sit here and say we have a target goal that we're gonna raise $75,000 for the candidates who are running. So we're gonna take that $75,000 divided by 5, that's $15,000 per candidate. That's how we gonna run. Now you take over school board. For $75,000, you now control the whole school board, the budget, the hiring process, the curriculum, you control everything.
That's right.
Tiffany said, this is planning time. This is takeover time. And Reese, that's what I need folk to understand. Stop sitting here. He ain't going nowhere. We're going to fight them every single way. But where you are right now, you can take over that school board, take over that city council, take over that county seat. Look who's your state rep and state senator. I'm telling you, that's where the game is won.
Absolutely. I mean, there are over 500,000 elected positions in this country. Very little of in terms of the quantity of power is concentrated at the federal level. Obviously, they have an outsized influence, but there are all kinds of elections, parish, town, whatever the case may be. And too often, I won't even talk about Democrats because maybe you don't consider yourself a diehard Democrat. There are too many people that just don't even bother to run. I happen to be married to an elected official in our town. He's a commissioner. He was the first Black man to win his seat as a commissioner, and he's won re-election a couple times since then. And so I see firsthand on a day-to-day basis how important it is to be involved at that local level. Now, I don't know if he'll be senator one day or anything like that, but at the end of the day, he's starting somewhere and he's impacting whether we get a park over here or whether we get, a speed camera here or whatever the situation may be, and he cares. And I know that there are people who care in all of our communities who can do something, but they don't believe that they can have an impact when the opposite is true. So if you want to see something change, you have to start by changing it. If you can't run for office, then hell, log into the Zoom. A lot of places are still doing Zoom meetings. Go in person. Just do something. If you do nothing, then you are just waiting for somebody else to take up the mantle, and we don't have that luxury anymore.
Absolutely. All right, folks, we're going to do this here. Go to a break. We come back. Ooh, Lord, I got to talk about y'all this silly-ass executive order Trump signed regarding HBCUs. The short version of it is blah, 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 blah. That's the short version. I'll explain when we come back right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
This week on The Other Side of Change.
And this is a special episode that is near and dear to our heart, especially during Earth Month, where we're going to talk about how the environment impacts our everyday life and what you can do to help solve it.
The issue is that the movement has not historically created a connection with us and has had narratives that really speak to our unique lived experiences and the environmental burdens and hazards that we experience. So there's really a narrative shift that needs to happen for the mainstream climate and environmental movement to really position itself as one that is for all of us.
Only on The Other Side of Change on the Black Star Network.
Next on The Black Table with me, Greg Carr. The enormous impact of race, education, and affirmative action in America, and how, believe it or not, white America is starting to feel a little bit of the pain. Dr. Natasha Warriku joins us with a case study of one suburban community and how it reacted when the minority students started to excel.
And most people didn't say this explicitly, but was that, the academics standards are getting higher in part because of the Asian kids, and that is making our kids really stressed out. So we need to reduce the amount of homework teachers are allowed to assign.
She shares a perspective that you don't want to miss. That's on the next Black Table, only on the Black Star Network.
On the next, A Balanced Life, we're talking about the stress of stress and trigger warnings, looking at those areas in our lives where we often don't turn the page or turn the corner, but giving us the ability to really take a deep dive and look at who we are, the people around us, and the ways in which we're triggered.
A lot of times we are so stressed out because we are trying to control things that are outside of our sphere of control.
That's all next on A Balanced Life on the Black Star Network.
Hey, this is Motown recording artist Kim. You are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered. That boy, he always unfiltered though. I ain't never known him to be filtered. Is there another way to experience Roland Martin than to be unfiltered? Of course he's unfiltered. Would you expect anything less? Watch what happens next.
Folks, yesterday, the twice impeached, criminally convicted felon con man in chief, Donald Trump, released this executive order. It's called, go to my iPad, it's called White House Initiative to Promote Excellence and Innovation at Historically Black Colleges and Universities. It is 1,065 words of literally nothing. I mean nothing. By the authority vested in me, historically black colleges and universities remain integral. Yeah, we know all of that. It is the policy of my administration to support HBCUs in advancing America's full potential, fostering more and better opportunities in higher education, providing the highest quality education, obtaining equal opportunities for participation in federal programs, ensuring college-educated Americans are empowered to advance the common good at home and abroad, and making our nation more globally competitive. Oh, he's establishing the White House Initiative on Historically Black Colleges and Universities. It's going to be housed in the executive office of the president. Then with executive departments and agencies, the President's Board of Advisors on Historically Black Colleges and Universities, blah, 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 to increase the private sector role, including the role of private foundations in strengthening HBCUs through enhancing institutional planning and development, fiscal stability, and financial management, upgrading institutional infrastructure, including the use of technology, to ensure the long-term viability of these institutions, and blah, 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 blah. Oh, but here's with President's Advisor, Board of Advisors of HBCUs. Here we go, we're gonna do this here. Accountability and implementation and revocations. And here's the deal. Remember he said working with federal agencies. So what did he say? Executive Order 14041, blah, 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 blah. The White House Initiative on Advancing this is from Biden. The White House Initiative on Advancing Educational Equity, Excellence, and Economic Opportunity through HBCUs for Trump is hereby revoked. Within 14 days of the date of the order, the administrator of the Environmental Protection Agency shall terminate the historically black colleges and universities and minority serving institutions advisory council. Y'all, that is the only relevant thing in this executive order. The rest of it is BS. It speaks to it is a, what's they say? It's a nothing burger. It's nothing. It's literally 1,065 words of nothing. Zero. But I'll remind y'all, HBCUs got $17 billion from Biden-Harris. This is nothing. I don't know no other word to describe, Reese. I do. It's a phrase. Man, this ain't shit. This ain't shit.
Well, it's propaganda. It's something that they can pump out to their disinformation ecosystem. It's something they can pump out to the tangibles crew so they can take this and say, oh, look, Donald Trump is doing X, Y, and Z on this hand. Well, on the other hand, he's doing all of these things that actually undermine HBCUs, that undermine our communities. And so one thing that you got to tip your hat to Republicans is they know how to do propaganda. They know how to do just enough, just scratch the surface enough so that if you don't look at the devil in the details, you might think something positive is happening. But this man and his attacks on academia, period, on K through 12 education we've already covered, absolutely is going to impact HBCUs. What they're doing in terms of canceling grants that have 100 words in there, which include women, anything black, anything, that's money that's being taken away from HBCUs as well. And so this is where Republicans know how to deflect and confuse people and have all this smoke and mirrors and make that the headline as opposed to what they're actually really doing. And so it's clever because how many people are going to be watching this show and not realize the extent of how much this is bullshit? A lot of people are just going to see it. The media loves to sane wash this stuff and give that headline that makes it seem like he's doing something positive.
It's nothing in here, Tiffany.
There's nothing in here. It's just take away what Biden did. And I'm a little worried about what he thinks this executive order might do as it relates to giving his friends, his business partners, access and power to sort of influence what HBCUs decide to do or the direction they decide to take. There is no money attached to this executive order at all. But there is some language about how Trump wants to create his friends or some business partners or community members. It does say students and alumni in executive order, but like, who gets to choose them? I got those kind of questions, right? It's not just like an executive order that says we're gonna create another council and get rid of Biden's council. My question is then who gets to select these people, right? And if it's not the institutions themselves who are telling the president, here, which we've already been doing, to be clear, here's what we need, here's the resources and funding that we need, then that's the first concern that I have. The second concern is this: nobody at all should be talking about this executive order as a positive thing when Donald Trump is literally erasing and getting rid of diversity, equity, and inclusion across the country at every other institution. The two don't go together. You cannot say that you do not support and that it is illegal in the land of the law for diversity and equity and inclusion to exist, but yet you want to sit here and pretend like this executive order is supposed to help black students at HBC, at historically black colleges and universities. The two don't make sense. So we're either going to support people of color and students of color, make education a right, make it a quality education, fund education, and support the students that are on this campus, and help the institutions so that they're able to make sure that their campuses are safe, or you're not. And what you have been doing is showing us that you actually don't give a damn about what's happening at HBCUs. So this is a joke. We can read between the lines of what you wrote. We know this is personal, you being petty for Joe Biden, and we can see for what it is. And our institutions have a responsibility. This is a call to all of our HBCUs. Our HBCUs have a responsibility to not pretend like this is a good thing and go along with the motions. We need HBCUs and institutions to stand up around the country, protect their institutions, and more importantly, protect their students and their faculty and their educators, and make sure that the White House doesn't get to play with HBCUs, pretending like it did something good, because that's exactly what he wants to do.
So, Greg, there is a particular line in here I found to be of interest. Right here, let's see here. They're going to, wait a minute. I thought this one was pretty funny, okay? It's under the first section, under section 3, I need everybody to see this, it's H. Let me zoom in. It says, Greg, encouraging states to provide the required state matching funds for 1890 land grant institutions. Now, folks, allow me to remind you what happened under Biden-Harris. Do y'all remember September 2023 when the Secretary of Education, Miguel Cardona, remember when the Secretary of Agriculture, Tom Vilsack, when those two sent a letter to 16 states telling them that, oh, y'all have cheated HBCU land grant institutions out of $13 billion over the last 30 years. They found that only 2 states, Ohio and Delaware, actually didn't cheat the universities. That's the only ones. The other states, this is inside higher education, the other states' institutions had funding gaps between $172 million to $2.14 billion compared to their white counterparts. So, Greg, here is the question, and here's the funding gap, y'all. As you see, Tennessee is $2.1 billion. Greg, how many 1890 HBCU land grant institutions are in your home state?
Us.
Tennessee State.
Yeah. The only urban institution, only public urban institution in Nashville. Middle Tennessee State is at Murfreesboro. So y'all better stop that shit.
So it's, so it's 2.1 billion.
Yeah.
North Carolina, $2 billion.
Yeah.
Florida A&M, $1.973 billion.
A lot of money, brother.
Texas, $1.1 billion.
Prairie View, Texas Southern, no question.
Louisiana, $1.1 billion.
Southern University A&M.
West Virginia, $852 million.
West Virginia State University.
Georgia, $603 million.
Fort Valley State University, Albany State University, yes. Savannah State University, yes, sir.
Alabama, $527 million.
Alabama A&M, Alabama State University, yes, sir.
South Carolina, $469 million.
Oh, Bulldogs, South Carolina State University, yes, sir.
Oklahoma, $418 million.
Oh, now, let me think. That's
Langston?
Yeah, Langston University, that's right.
Missouri, $361.5 million. That's Lincoln University, and that's also, it's in St. Louis, Harris Stowe.
Yeah.
Arkansas, $330.9 million, Pine Bluff.
Pine Bluff, yeah.
Maryland, $321 million.
Eastern Shore, Morgan.
Bowie State.
Yes, sir.
That's right. Coppin State. Virginia, $277 million.
Oh, that's our frat brother down there, Abdullah, Dr. Abdullah.
Virginia State.
Norfolk State, Mike Vick, and them cats down there doing it.
Mississippi, right. $257 million.
Alcorn, Jackson State, absolutely. Mississippi Valley would have to go have a GoFundMe because they need the money. Forget them uniforms to play those damn $1 million games where the athletes get hurt. Absolutely.
Kentucky, $172 million.
Where the athletes get hurt.
Yep. Go Thoroughbreds. Kentucky State University in Frankfurt. That's right.
So, no. Go back. So, here's my question, Greg. Is Trump going to call the Republican governor of Tennessee, the Republican governor of Florida, the Republican governor of Texas, the Democratic governor of North Carolina, the Republican governor of Louisiana, the Republican governor of West Virginia, the Republican governor of Georgia, the Republican governor of Alabama, the Republican governor of South Carolina, the Republican governor of Oklahoma, the Republican governor of Missouri, his former staffer, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Republican governor of Arkansas.
Oh, I hate that girl.
Our frat brother, Democratic governor Wes Moore, Reese over there smiling and cheesing, governor of Maryland, the Republican governor, Glenn Youngkin of Virginia, the Republican governor, Tate Reeves of Mississippi, and the Democratic governor of Kentucky, Andy Beshear. So of the 16 universities listed, only 3 of them have Democratic governors. I would love to know, Greg, especially of the black maggots, and since we name calling,
yes, sir.
Here's what I want to know. Byron Donalds of Florida.
Don't do it.
Tim Scott of South Carolina.
Yikes.
Wesley Hunt of Texas. All 3 of you have, your states are on here. Burgess Owens, you out there in Utah, but your ass still need to be making some phone calls.
How about it?
And here's what I want to know. David Harris Jr., you real loud on social media. Hodge twins, Cartier family, Candace Owens. Oh, I ain't done. Let me just go ahead and just pull one. See, one person. Joseph Pinion, where you at? What I want to know is, and see, I'm going to go ahead and show her, because she loves showing her ass on social media. Yeah, I'm talking about you, Sharice Lane. Pro-black conservative. Got reparations now on your feed. FAMU graduate. Look at you with your FAMU. Here's what I want to know, Sharice. Are you going to use your social media, your MAGA capital, to tell Trump to give that money to your university? Go ahead, Greg. I told y'all I'm petty.
No, you know the answer.
But you got receipts, though.
No question. No question. No, I think, well, several things. By the way, I didn't realize, I'm embarrassed to say until a couple of weeks ago, that there is a Black Chamber of Commerce, although I should have known this, in Utah. I picked up a book called Black Utah. So, yeah, I don't know if he's in touch with the people at the Black Chamber of Commerce in Utah, but there is one, Brother Burgess, so you should probably talk with them if you can get your head out from the MAGA hind parts. But I think there's several things. Tiffany, I think you focused in on some very important language there. At Howard University, the Secretary of Wrestling is an ex officio member of Howard's board. So look for Linda McMahon to be around because, again, as you say, Reese, they're excellent at trolling. They're excellent at public relations. And don't expect any real pushback because Howard is holding his breath for a reason I'll mention it in a moment. And I wouldn't be surprised at all. Larry Ellison, when I first came to Howard, had given some equipment and some in-kind stuff when he was running Oracle day-to-day to Howard University at the time. That was 3 presidents ago. Ellison now, of course, is vying to expand his reach and use our federal dollars to do it. So I wouldn't be surprised if he don't start sniffing around, and Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. Because that language does kind of speak to enabling that kind of, when he's talking about free enterprise, that's basically, we're going to rob y'all. That's what they're talking about. Take your public dollars. So there's that language. Speaking directly to what you raised, Roland, I don't expect him to call any of those folks, because I think that that executive order is speaking to picking up political points, and part of their politics, particularly these craven white nationalists, is an emphasis on select ideas or select propaganda that they are somehow friends of the blacks. Look at my African American, friends of the blacks, Herschel Walker and, you know, these kind of clowns, friends of the blacks, HBCUs in some ways. Because remember, I think if memory serves me correctly, you can check with her directly, Roland. I think it was Omarosa was one of the people in his ear about moving that from the Department of Education to the White House, even though that had been done under previous administrations as well. But all that is a foreground to this. Separating black folk from other non-white groups in America, and shout out to all the descendants of slaves. Yes, I'm speaking to you, descendants of slaves who play into that blackface nativism and thereby weaken our collective efforts. By doing that, notice what was not mentioned in that initiative, in that executive order. And this is something that goes back to the previous administration. Separating the HBCUs from the other quote-unquote minority-serving institutions, the Hispanic-serving institutions and the tribal colleges, who have already complained again, saying, oh, so you're going to create an oppression Olympics between us and the blacks. I mean, this is all designed with that in mind. And there have been a couple of HBCUs that have said thank you in the wake of this executive order, thereby playing right into it. At least Kellyanne Conway isn't around to have her feet off on the couch while the Negroes are lining up to cheese behind the President of the United States. Now, all that is a foreground to this. He ain't going to call them because he didn't have to. The hillbillies behind the Cotton Curtain will continue to try to strangle the HBCUs. This is just rhetoric. Finally, I think it's important to understand exactly what both of y'all have said. And Reese, you kind of emphasized this. Just this week, it was announced, for example, that the federal government, through the State Department, because Trump's trying to destroy the State Department, which, you know, I don't really have mixed opinions at all. I think the United States is already is receding as a world power, and this is just going to accelerate it. And that might ultimately, in the long range, if we're smart enough to have some global solidarity, be a plus for us. But a story for another day. One of the things they're doing as they're pancaking the State Department is ending the contract with Howard University to recruit candidates for the Rangel and Pickering fellowships. Those two fellowships are used to recruit non-whites and underrepresented groups into the Foreign Service. Now, you signing this executive order, the Negroes are like, hey, thank you, and you're ending the contract that created a pipeline to create black ambassadors, black State Departments, black employees, black diplomats. So we have to pay strict attention. It is rhetorical, it is useless, but there is a politics animating that theater. And I think that politics is far more dangerous than the words on this last piece of paper that the clown is scribbling with his crayon on.
See, the thing for me here, Reese, is, and this is why I tell folk, y'all, I don't get excited about sheets of paper. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I want to know the details. And the reality is, and let me be real clear, and I've said this to black Republicans, we are still constituents. We are still taxpayers. We, as black people, even though we were the smartest folk in America and not voting for this phony fraud, we knew what was going on. But we still are owed, we still are owed a whole lot. Daryl Scott, I'm talking to you too. Where you at? Not where the fans at, where the MAGA's at. Where the black MAGA's at? What? See, he talking about it. Y'all, no. Since y'all gonna be in the room, kikiing, Harlem shuffling, because we know y'all can't do boots on the ground. No. Since y'all in there, are y'all gonna ask for the $13 billion? Mm. And since all these Republicans are playing the bend over game with Donald Trump, when they were voting on the voucher bill in Texas, that scam, Trump phoned in to the House Republicans. Y'all vote for this bill. Okay, Donald, tell Greg to release that money to Texas land grants.
That's right.
Come on, Byron. You supposedly running for governor? Tell Donald to call Ron and your wife, his wife, the co-governor, to release that money. on. Come on, Daryl Scott. Tell Trump to call Lee in Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
Come on now. Come on. Come on, Cartier family. All you little young boys, y'all be running y'all mouth. Tell Trump to call Brian Kemp and give Georgia that money. If all of you, and y'all don't like nobody, y'all can't stand when black people call out and question your ethnicity. All right. Show us something. And if you're not gonna stand up for black people and ask for the money, y'all all a bunch of frauds. Reese, go right ahead.
That's true. You did mention my governor, though, Governor Westmore of Maryland. So I just had to just let people know that in the fiscal year 25 budget, he doubled the state federal match for the 1890 land grant institution. There's only one left, to $4.8 million. Okay, so
hold up. He fret, but this is old money. See, that's recent money. I need that old money. Because see, that one. Let me hear that money we talking about. That was for a very specific 30-year period.
I know what you're saying.
So the HBCUs in Maryland should be getting that old money plus new money. But go ahead.
I'm saying that he don't need a call. He already on the JOB. That's what I'm saying.
Now it's 321. So it's the fourth lowest. Still need that check.
Okay, well, he on the job. He on the job. Okay. So, anywho.
I'm going to send him a text, too.
Go ahead, do it. I got my governor's back, okay. No, but anyway, to your point, yeah, I mean, if y'all supposed to be the Negro Council to Donald Trump, then
Angela Stanton King always running her loud ass mouth. You in Georgia? Where you at, Angela? Oh, little Michaela Montgomery stood your ass outside of that Chick-fil-A with Trump.
Ooh. I ain't seen that.
Brought your ass down to Revolt World trying to get loud with me. When y'all gonna ask for the $603 million?
She tried to get loud.
Reese, try to get loud. Man, girl, go sit your little country ass there. You called me out. You called me a lie. My parents were watching your show. Your ass lied.
Say hi to the parents.
But your ass lied.
You calling somebody country with a cowboy hat on is hilarious.
No, baby, hold up. You know, first of all, wearing a cowboy hat don't mean your country.
I know, but I'm just saying.
That means your ass got swagger.
Come on.
Reese, go ahead.
It is a nice hat. It is a nice hat. You information. I don't know if you want a cowboy card later or what. But anywho.
This is my coat. I'm rocking this Cody James. Going right. I had my Stetson on the other day, but going right ahead.
Where your fan at?
No. That shit is not.
Don't hate on the fan.
You ain't gonna never see my ass with the fan. Let's be real clear.
Wait a minute, I'm gonna send you the clip.
Let's be real clear. No, let's be real clear.
You didn't have no fan.
Let's be real clear. When 803 Fresh said where the fans at, he talking to y'all.
He talking to the ladies.
Okay, when it's time to clap, let me real clear. Ladies clap with fans. We clap. Reese, go ahead.
Okay.
I'm gonna send you the video.
Yeah, well, you know, I want to go back to Tiffany's point earlier about this whole notion of oversight. You know, a couple weeks ago, Roland, we talked about what was happening with one of these universities where there was this terrible loan of sorts that they were trying to...
St. Augustine. I'm going to deal with their ass in a minute. Go ahead.
Okay, there you go. And so I'm just, the wheels are turning, and I'm thinking about how this oversight, and the one thing they always try to attack HBCUs on is their finances. And so I don't like the idea of them getting their tentacles more in these institutions. To Tiffany's point, again, there's no money associated with this. So you're increasing oversight with people who are not disinterested parties. And then the other part of it that does not compute is their whole emphasis on private-public partnerships. When this administration is suing or threatening to sue and investigating corporations for DEI, any kind of DEI programs, that doesn't really compute with increasing partnerships from the private sector. And so there are so many things, actually their entire platform outside of this EO completely contradict any notion that they actually have earnest intentions here on improving HBCUs.
Well, again, Greg, real quick, then we'll go Tiffany.
No, just very quickly. The one that we should be paying attention to, even though I think it's completely illegal, is the executive order he signed yesterday going after the accrediting bodies. Understand that every university has to have accreditation. For Howard and the Mid-Atlantic states, it's Middle States. For most of our HBCUs, it's SACs. What they want to do now is expand the number of bodies that are able to do accreditation, and they want to, he used the phrase, prevent ideological overreach. It's going to be illegal, but what they're now doing, he's calling the accrediting bodies his secret weapon. If they can figure out a way to withhold funding, meaning Pell Grants and student loans, to university accrediting bodies, man, listen, that is the battleground. Because if you lose your accreditation, we saw it at Morris Brown, we've seen it different places, that means that you can't get federal loans or Pell Grants to go to school. And that is the one that Russell Vaught and them boys in Project 2025 are taking dead aim at. I just wanted to mention that. Thank you.
Go ahead.
The only thing I wanted to add, Roland, is when you talk about the MAGA, what'd you call them?
Maggots.
The maggots.
I tried to write everything down. Between
M-A-G-A-O-T-S.
No, I know how to spell it, but I'm thinking between MAGA maggots and what Dr. Carr said earlier, the hillbillies behind the cotton curtain. I just feel like everybody needs to tweet that and tag both of them in it. I just want to name, when we're talking about power, back to what you said earlier, the reason why we're not going to see, to be clear, any of the people that Roland listed call Donald Trump and ask him for this $13 billion is because they know that if they did, Donald Trump going to tell them no. And the people on that list are the folks who appreciate pretending like they have access to power by conforming to white supremacy and doing their best to act like white people, but they have no power to get what they actually need or what they actually want from Donald Trump. So I'm glad we have a network and a space where we can display the hypocrisy, call them out and tell them to tell Donald Trump what to do, because this is what he wrote in his executive order. But to be very clear, the reason why you're not going to see any of these people respond to the call to action is because they know that if they try to attempt to call Donald Trump, he going to look at them and laugh and say, get out my face. He ain't giving nobody no money. And these folks don't have the power like they think they do, just because they're pretending and conforming to white supremacy and conforming to Donald Trump and making America great again does not mean that they actually have the power to get what they want. I would love to see, and I will support, I would love to see them call Donald Trump, have a meeting with them and say, look, this is what you wrote in your executive order, $13 billion on the list. Here are all the land-grant institutions. Here are all of the states that we're in. How are we going to move this money and hold these people accountable? I would love to see them do that. But you ain't never going to see it because they have no power. Donald Trump's not going to give them the time of the day. He's not going to allow them to schedule a meeting with him. He's not even going to take their phone call, okay? So continue to put pressure on those people, but let's make sure that when Roland is calling those folks out, that we're paying attention to the why it's not happening. It's because they do not have power. They are performing.
Oh, absolutely. So, and again, since y'all love to stand there knee deep in your blackness, y'all love to talk about Frederick Douglass was a Republican. Y'all love to talk about, oh, it was the Democrats who created the KKK. All historical facts. But I got to remind y'all, we know exactly who's supporting Confederate monuments today.
Ooh.
Your boy Trump and the Republican Party. If y'all claim y'all are real, be a modern-day Bob Brown. Be a modern-day Arthur Fletcher.
That's right.
Or you're going to end up really being a modern-day Stephen from Django. Who that on that nag?
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Who that on that nag?
Don't do it.
Hey, brother.
Yeah, I said it. Let me go to break. When I come back, I'm going to talk about the drama at St. Augustine's University. We'll talk about that next. Y'all support the show. Support this show. Y'all know ain't no blacker show out here. First of all, ain't no other daily black news show. It's also black owned.
Talk your ish.
That we ain't got to ask nobody permission what we talk about.
Come on.
Or what we wear.
Come on.
Or Well, I ain't gonna go there.
Who you have on the show?
Y'all want to support us? Y'all contribute via Cash App. The QR code is right here via Stripe. Pull it up right here. You can also, of course, support us by sending your check and money order. And make it out to Roland Martin Unfiltered. Not Uncle Roro, not Roland Martin, not Unfiltered, not Black Star Network. Make it out to Roland Martin Unfiltered. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 2003 7-0196. PayPal R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo's RM Unfiltered. Zelle Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. We'll be right back.
Next on the Black Table with me, Greg Carr. The enormous impact of race, education, and affirmative action in America, and how, believe it or not, white America is starting to feel a little bit of the pain. Dr. Natasha Waraku joins us with a case study of one suburban community and how it reacted when the minority students started to excel.
And most people didn't say this explicitly, but was that, the academics standards are getting higher in part because of the Asian kids, and that is making our kids really stressed out. So we need to reduce the amount of homework teachers are allowed to assign.
She shares a perspective that you don't want to miss. That's on the next Black Table, only on the Black Star Network.
Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm Devon Frank.
I'm Dr. Robin B., pharmacist and fitness coach, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
All right, folks, remember we had our town hall in Raleigh for St. Augustine University. This was April 11th, and you might remember that North Carolina State Representative Abe Jones, and he was on the panel, and I was asking him a series of questions, and City Council member from Raleigh, Corey Branch, was in the audience, and everybody was pointing out his audience. I'm like, come on up here. And I challenged them on political leaders needing to call a meeting with St. Aug leadership to talk about the drama and what the hell's going on in that school. In case y'all missed it, y'all know I'm real black. This actually happened.
Attempted to have any conversations with this interim president and the board of trustees about what has happened and what their plan of action is?
Yes, I have.
And
I've had a conversation.
What happened?
So I had a conversation with the acting president, and in that conversation he keeps saying, we have a plan, we're working through a plan, we have a way to have funding. That's what he's telling me.
Okay, so
that's
said,
the conversation I've had with him.
He said we have a plan.
Yes. He has not shared the plan to me.
So how you know there's an actual plan?
How do I know about the actual plan? I don't, because he hasn't shared it to me, but
Gotcha.
I've had the conversation with him.
Okay, so are you willing to join with the state rep, have a political delegation call for the interim trustees to literally come to your political delegation to explain how do we get here with documentation, and then also lay out to y'all what that plan is, because that campus being empty, let's walk this through. First, has an impact on the community when it comes to sales tax. It impacts the businesses around there. The condition of the university is now blight. So are you willing to do that in the next 10 days?
I would meet with them tomorrow. I mean, I have no problem. Anyone knows I'm not hard to find.
No.
So yes, 10 days.
I'm talking about.
I meet tomorrow.
Okay. Okay. I got this, y'all. So I'm not gonna say tomorrow, because I want you as the councilman, you as the state rep, the state senator, and whoever the county leader is. I want the four of those individuals. You can put the mayor if you want, but if not, that's fine. But the four to put that letter together and send it to that president and that board of regents, that board of trustees, and say, we are requesting that meeting, a face-to-face meeting with them to get all of those answers, because as the duly elected representatives of the people, since clearly they're not going to talk to the people, if they choose not to talk to y'all, then y'all really know how they feel.
And if I can say, I've actually, their past chair of their board and their current chair, the 2 times I've interacted with them, I had to introduce myself to them, because they don't know who's in Raleigh is in leadership.
Oh, no.
Here. So
they gonna know now.
Yeah, they know now.
But that's my point. No. That's my point. I mean, at the end of the day, if all you keep hearing is they're unaccountable, they're not talking to anybody, as political leaders, that's the level of pressure that needs to be placed upon them to get those answers. Because again, we're talking about whatever decisions that they make with that school and that property has a direct impact on that neighborhood and the city.
Well, guess what? I said in 10 days. It took them 13. They had a meeting today. It took place in the office of State Representative Abe Jones. The invitation-only meeting was between President Dr. Marcus H. Burgess. You know, he ain't got time to come on our show, but he can go talk to white media, WRAL. Board Chair Brian Boulware, he ain't responding to us to come on the show as well, but glad he showed up to a meeting. Board member Charlotte Clark Turpin, Representative Jones, Raleigh City Council member Corey Branch, community activist and select alumni. Now, Jones nor Branch was available to join us tonight. We're going to keep calling to discuss what happened in today's meeting. We contacted St. Augustine for a statement about the meeting because they will never agree to appear on the show. They did not respond to our request. Y'all know we're going to email y'all every single day. And there'll be 26 students graduating from St. Augustine's unless they fail to pay the $164,000 in unpaid tuition, fees, and other expenses that could hinder them from receiving the diploma. The school is literally asking for donations to help these students pay off their debts. You know, I understand, Greg, that, you know, one of the political folk wasn't too happy that I was pressing them like that. Tough, you ran, got elected, sucked that shit up. But this is where something that for me, I am never going to apologize for. I am not going to allow any HBCU to come to the community, please help us out, please support us, we need donations, but then you don't want to come tell the people how you are spending your money.
What can I say, brother? That is, that's one of the great challenges, the T word in HBCU culture. And I won't restrict it to HBCUs, but I went to an HBCU. I've worked at white schools and black schools, and I spent the last quarter century at Howard and traveling the country. Spent a lot of time at a lot of different HBCUs with a lot of my colleagues who are often alongside the staff, the least regarded when it comes to these issues, and that's the faculty. So I can say that transparency is maybe not a different challenge at HBCUs, but certainly there is a distinction to be made. And I think a lot of it has to do with black culture, regardless of how we want to define that broad and sometimes amorphous concept, and it can be distinct from each other depending on where we are. But there is a sense that there's this obligation on two fronts when it comes to black institutions. One is to, quote unquote, not wash our dirty laundry in public, which has some value to it, but not in all instances. And I think this is one of the instances where it doesn't, even as we know that St. Aug and Shaw sit within spitting distance of the North Carolina legislature, and those hillbillies down there want nothing more than to get their hands on both those campuses. So that's one. And the second one is this idea that we should just trust authority, whether it be elders. In many ways, HBCUs are run like the black church. Whoever the pastor is, just shut up and follow and march in line, and we see how that works out. So you see that converging in a moment like this. And when you show up on a campus, what you bring is that air and that sunlight, and ultimately it creates short-term pain for those who are in it for the wrong reasons. Selfish gains. They'd have made a side deal. Some white woman promised them a couple of tickets on a cruise, or maybe a ride on a Learjet, or maybe $5 worth of stock and whatever they're going to do at the campus once they take it over. Well, they're scared of hell for you to show up, and they should be. But in this case, I think it's challenging on this front, finally. Now that it has been opened up, as you said earlier when we were talking about being involved and not just organizing, but mobilizing and sustaining efforts, you know, what happens now that it has been opened up? Because clearly the forces that want that campus have not yet completely revealed themselves. And they are not the trustees. They are not the president and the current administration. They are those white, well-resourced forces that want that campus. Once you've opened it up, do they jump in and say, yeah, we need transparency, and why not? We ain't talking to you. We're not talking to you. And that's where everybody listening to this now has to jump down and get completely involved. Because I'm telling you right now, the campus I work on at Howard University, they're holding their breath. You know why they're holding their breath? Because until and unless we all get involved and engage in surrounding and supporting these HBCUs, they feel like when they call you downtown, you got to dance on the head of a pin. And then people say, well, why y'all doing that? Hey. Transparency is going to be your only protection. So thanks for opening us up, Roland. I suspect this won't be the last HBCU campus you're invited to do the same thing.
I just think, Tiffany, for me, it's very simple, and that is we had family and students and alumni saying, man, we can't get answers. After we did that, we had a pastor from Detroit who said he'd been trying to get answers to his $50,000 scholarship. Couldn't nobody give him answers. And guess what? After he came on our show, all of a sudden, he got an email from the president saying, hey, can we chat? Now, he couldn't get no call before. See, so all the folk who, see, again, now Burgess won't come meet with us, but guess what? I'm going to stay on your ass.
There's something that I want your followers to pay attention to. So we talked about mobilization, we talked about follow through, and we talked about power. Now I want to talk about direct ask, because what you just did in that town hall was really important. You said, where's the plan? He said, he told me he has a plan. And you could have stopped there, but because you've been—
Oh, hell no.
I know, but this is, if people don't know what a direct ask is, it'll go over their head. You see what I'm saying? You say, where's the plan? Oh, you got it? Okay, cool. Well, what's his executive order mean? Oh, he just wrote he supports HBCUs? Oh, HBCUs? Okay,
well,
cool.
First of all, Representative Abe Jones, we didn't show the first part. He was like, well, I can't meet by myself. I said, okay, all right, this is how I want you to meet with. Well, it can't just take me, okay. And then they were like, I said, well, who's city councilman? They were like, he right here. I was like, are you the councilman? Come on up here.
See,
it's a weird. Like, we ain't about to sit here and play this game.
You can't. And people want to have performance events, performance conversations. People want to stay safe. They don't want to be held accountable. And not only that, it's important for people to pay attention to how you ask the question. You gave them a deadline. You told them who needs to be in the meeting. You told them what the outcome of the meeting needs to be. Let's be very clear. And you didn't just do it because you're a journalist, because anybody could do that. We watch Gary Chambers do that all the time at a city council meeting. By this day, or with this person, by this time, can you have these things? And so the direct ask is really important so we can get to the clarity. And last thing, there's a lot of people having conversations about what the problem is. And you have demonstrated, whether it's right or whether it's wrong, whether it's a good idea or whether it's it's going to help us win, you have an idea. Y'all need to gather and have a meeting, and then look what happens. The meeting actually took place. Now, 13 days is nothing to fuss at. That's fine, it happened, and it happened. But the follow-through needs to happen. And if they're not responding to you, they're not telling you what happened in the meeting, they're not telling you what the outcome of the meeting is going to be, what the next steps are, then we have a problem. But you asking the question directly and not just saying, do you have a plan, and then stopping and taking his word to say, yeah, we think we have a plan, it's fine, I haven't seen it, is almost like somebody saying, yeah, we got Santa Claus, I ain't never seen him, but we got Santa Claus. We have to be able to push people and ask the direct questions so people can give us direct answers so we can get what we want.
Because see, here's the biggest thing for me, this is real basic for me, Reese. Don't come. See, I apply this to everybody.
That's true. Anybody can do it.
I apply it. Listen, my philosophy is real simple. If you do good, I'm going to talk about you. If you do bad, I'm going to talk about you. At the end of the day, I'm going to talk about you. And all I'm saying, the problem that I have, the biggest problem that I have is I cannot watch or let somebody come to us, woe is me, we need help, we trying to get our accreditation, can y'all make some donations? When somebody, listen, Tiffany know, oh, we trying to get these students from Florida A&M. How many?
Lord have mercy.
How much y'all trying to raise?
He did that to me.
She's like, well, we're going to keep the conversation going.
Dr. Carr had to pass me a note card and a pen so I could do some math on the paper.
You sit over there and count. I'll come right back to you. See, this is real simple.
And superseded the goal. Come on.
I'm just saying, my deal is, this is not that complicated. Don't come to me and say, St. Aug, we need donate. How much? How much you need? Where did the last money go? Who's over the money? Who approved? See, we ain't doing all. This is my problem.
Come on.
And I heard this crap from Bethune-Cookman. And then they tried to get smart.
That's right.
I'm going to go old phrase. They tried to get smarty-odd.
Never heard that.
It's a smarty-odd. Watch the Chris Rock Bring the Pain special. You see what I'm talking about. Greg know what I'm talking about. Oh, you one of them smarty-odd brothers. Yep, I'm a smarty-odd brother. That's what I am. And I sat there and I was like, they were like, well, since you got all these questions, why don't you come to campus? Which day?
I've been waiting for you to invite me. All you had to say.
Then they went.
Tell me to come.
He come. Yep. Then we picked the day. Then we found a location. Then the Bethune-Cookman people pressured the church to cancel the town hall at their church. Y'all thought I wasn't gonna find a second church?
Ooh.
Found a second church. Then the students told me, they like, ooh, they've been cleaning up shit. They've been painting. They've been cutting stuff.
No,
Yeah, they sure did.
The students didn't tell you that.
What does that Ida B. Wells sign say over there on the other side of my studio? Here we go ahead and show that sign. I told y'all, what does that sign say? I keep telling y'all people, we are not playing with y'all. If y'all want to sit here and play games, we ain't playing with y'all. That sign is real, that art piece is real clear. Can I get a shot of this art piece, please? Thank you very much. It says, the way to right wrongs is to turn the light of truth upon them. And Reese, I'm telling you, telling you right now, Reese, to the board members and the president, the interim president, keep ignoring my calls. Do not be shocked if I show up at your house.
Pull up.
Yeah, well, one thing about you, Roland, you're going to put your money where your mouth is, and at least you're asking questions, you're making the ask in a way that's constructive. This isn't a rag on HBCUs. You know, like you said, you do good, you talk about them. We had Dr. Kimbrough a couple weeks back talking about the great work that he's doing down there at his university as well. And so the bottom line is, if you don't want people in your business, don't put them in your business. You don't get to come and ask for money and think that I ain't gonna audit your ass.
Come on! It's like your family member. Reese, I need to borrow $1,000. For what?
Automatically, I'm gonna run you down. I'm gonna run you down.
But then I see you on Instagram at a birthday party with bottles, and I'm like, wait a minute, I thought you needed $1,000. What's going on?
Listen, I had somebody, Reese, Tiffany, and Greg, I had somebody doing some work for me, and they asses were not sending the stuff to me, and I'm on Instagram, and I'm seeing your ass with hashtag LA Nights. I said, oh.
No.
Oh, your ass took a trip to LA, and you having a good ass time on my money.
Busted.
The moment I saw them post, I sent a text. I better see your ass at 9 a.m. on Monday, and I pulled everything I asked for. I need to see a. Oh no, you ain't gonna be flossing on my money and not turning in your homework.
Hold them accountable.
Reese, go ahead.
No, but I mean, look, at the end of the day, don't give people any ammo. You know, if you don't give people any ammo, they ain't got no reason to talk bad about you. And so when you handle your business, when you come up with a plan, saying you have a plan is not a plan. What are the specifics around the plan? As soon as you involve more people in the day-to-day things, unfortunately, you have to be more transparent. If you were just handling it, then you could just do secretive because everything is handled and people don't pay attention when everything is under control. So this is one of those things that's self-inflicted, but I'm glad that there's progress being made because obviously there has to be some impetus for progress. I hate that it has to be that way sometimes with some of our institutions, that it's got to be some drama, it's got to be some hand wringing and all that other kind of stuff. But listen, at the end of the day, if it's problem solved, that's what counts. People need to stop focusing so much on this notion of how you deliver the message. As Dr. Carr pointed out, oh, you got to keep stuff in-house. People need to focus less on, you know, how abrasive it is, the tone and all that kind of stuff, and focus on, did we get to a solution? Did we move forward?
Right.
Did we move the needle forward for the students and for the longevity of these institutions? Because be very, very clear.
Right.
Whether it's at the state level or at the federal level, HBCUs are going to be under more scrutiny than ever before.
And see, when somebody said, I ain't like your tone, I ain't like your leans.
Yikes. Yikes.
I ain't like your tone. I ain't like you not paying faculty and staff for 6 months.
My God.
I ain't like your tone. I ain't like health insurance not working. I ain't like your tone. I ain't like you not paying the black-owned landscaping company for cutting the grass on the 100-plus acre campus. I ain't like your tone. I ain't like you telling students they owed money when they didn't owe money. See, this is real simple. Reese just said it. If you don't want nobody in your business, handle your business right.
Period.
We have black folk. St. Aug has been the last place of refuge.
Yes, sir.
For a lot of black kids in North Carolina, Chicago, St. Louis, and other places.
Yes, sir.
And I'm gonna say this again, what I said that night. I would be embarrassed to no end that if I was an administrator or a board of trustee at a school founded with the pennies and the nickels of formerly enslaved people of African descent.
Rolling.
If those black warriors, mamas and daddies, and sharecropping and picking cotton and selling fruit and the black tax 65, 70%, eating beans, one piece of meat in a bowl, and they survived Reconstruction, 92 years of Jim Crow, all of that.
My God.
And for your ass to get to 2025 and the school has lost accreditation and you owe millions of dollars and you out here signing deals with interest rates, predatory interest rates of 24 and 25% when you got a white man sitting right there in North Carolina over a $5 billion fund who was going to give you a loan at a lower interest rate, and your ego says, how dare you say that the board chair and board members need to leave in order for me to give the loan. That ain't no different when I looked at my now deceased sister's then husband. I said, if I'm gonna be sit here and pay the bills of my sister and my 4 nieces, you could take your punk ass out of this apartment because I'm not gonna pay for the AC and the lights and the food, and you lay your sorry ass up here and you ain't paying nothing. Oh yeah, no. My wife, I left the family breakfast, went to the apartment, my wife started praying.
R.I.P.
She knew where I went. She started praying.
That's a praying woman.
She said, oh, I know where he went. She started getting bail money.
Yep.
It's the same thing. If I gotta bail your ass out, then your sorry ass gotta go. That's literally what he said to Brian Boulware, the board chair. Cause your ass ain't figured this out. And hell, I done pulled up so much information on Boulware on how many businesses that he had that he now don't have, and the stuff that he lost. If you can't take care of your own personal finances, how the hell are you gonna take care of St. Aug? See, I done told y'all, don't.
I can't.
You had to stop yourself?
I know.
I ain't never seen you roll
because I had a flashback to Papa Pope on Scandal when he said to Edison, "Don't make me angry."
Oh, you ain't even angry yet. This is what?
No, that ain't angry. No, right now I'm just highly miffed.
Oh, okay.
You're making a very important point, brother, that I'm sitting here stirred up. Like you said, I spent my whole life at black institutions. The only time I wasn't was when I was in graduate school and when I was teaching starting out, and then I came to Howard. When you start talking about what our ancestors did, brother, it's very hard. It's very hard for me to hear this and not be moved. I don't think any of us can. Y'all see that out of all the books in just this room, that whole shelf at that top, those are the history of the black teacher organizations in this country, all of them in the South. And when you talk about sacrifice, you know, they gave it all. There should be no black institution that has anyone in leadership who does not only thoroughly understand that history, and I'm here to tell you as I look in this camera, that they don't. That they do not. If you put a gun in their mouth and someone blow your brains out, if you cannot recite the deep history of this institution, it'd be a lot of dead HBCU presidents, a lot of dead board members. But that having been said, when you don't understand the sacrifice, and you know, an elder said this to me maybe about 5 years ago about the nature of HBCU boards. He said, when you look at the HBCU boards, not just the ones that were started by black schools, black institutions like the AME Church and the Baptists and these things, but the ones that slowly became black over time, those first black board members at HBCU boards that had once been all white, they were institution builders. So you go to a place like North Carolina, the head of North Carolina Mutual Insurance was sitting on the board. When you go to Mississippi or Alabama, these are people who had built institutions, who had done like what you're doing, but building institutions. Then this person told me somewhere in the 80s and 90s, you start seeing that generation as they are dying out, as they are becoming ancestors. The people who start coming on those boards are employees. The first Negro to work here, the senior vice president Negro here. And it doesn't those institutions, but they think differently. It's different when you've built something than when you're an employee. And so now their desires for the institution, they still want black people to do, and they will sacrifice it. But what they think about it's in terms of employability. Well, we need to cut this from this program, or we need to move here. What jobs are in there? All important conversations, but they don't have the commitment in the same way. And now where we are finally at this moment, we got people who should be nowhere near boards of trustees.
Boom.
We got people who should be nowhere near academic leadership at academic institutions who say, we got to run this like a business. Yes, there's a business dimension of it, and that's very important, but you're not an educator. We're at a crisis now with our black institutions rolling, and I'm going to be quiet now, because, brother, when you stir up those ancestors, brother, I tell you, man, it makes me to the point where I need to stop talking, because that's too much, brother. No, it's not. It's exactly what we need to hear. Don't stop talking like that.
Yeah, that's why when I walked on that campus and I was like, man, ain't nobody here. Like, I mean, Carol said the students weren't on campus. I mean, you hear that.
Sure.
It was deserted. Wow. And then how you sitting here charging folk full freight? I done told y'all.
That's how I feel about a lot of the campuses that charge full tuition during the pandemic.
I'm trying to listen. This is about full accountability. That's all. This is full accountability. And so folk want to sit here and again play these games. They ain't what I do. And I look, we didn't have to go down there. We didn't have to spend money to have this town hall. And Reese, you're right. And y'all turn the audio of my iPad up. And I'm telling y'all, the reason I froze, I'm telling you, Joe Morton came right into my head. And I remember this scene right here.
Oh, Lord.
Don't make me angry.
That's what I thought.
Look at the fear on his face, though.
That's all I'm saying.
Look at the fear.
That's all I'm saying.
You see how stuck he is?
That's Norm Lewis. That's all I'm saying.
How'd he do it? Say it again.
Don't make me angry.
Just like that. With the pause afterwards.
Then you know.
Listen, that's what parents look like when they tell their kid, hey, cut it out.
Hey, I ain't.
That's exactly what it looked like.
Listen, we gonna close the show out, but I gotta give y'all this last story. I told Kara this story last night. So first of all, tomorrow is my daddy's 78th birthday.
Happy birthday, Daddy.
So we're having a party in Houston on Saturday. True ass story. So I need y'all to understand, this ain't me. This ain't me. You model what you see. And so, depending on what your role, you model. So I'm a high school senior, and I'm working at Slave in Hell, also known as Steak and Ale. So that's my family. We call it Slave in Hell.
Only people who fast food know what you just did, Roland. Anybody ever worked fast food got another name for the place.
Oh yeah. So I'm only working at Slave in Hell to make enough money to get my high school class ring. That's the only reason I'm working there. So we had already made enough money, so like fine, we pick up some extra. So it was Thanksgiving. So we were gonna travel to Kansas City for my grandmother and our relatives there. Now my dad was like, oh, your ass ain't staying at home just to work at Slave in Hell. So I went to a coworker and said, hey, can we swap, whatever? And the coworker agreed. So I get back, I roll up to Slave in Hell to look at the schedule. Homeboy pops out. He's like, oh no, you got fired. Because the person didn't do this, so yeah, you got fired. And I was like, shit, I'm good. I already got the money. I already made enough money for my ring, so yeah, all right. I will get my last check. Now, you got to come back next week. So I now know it's really about to be a problem. So I walk outside, tap on the window. They ain't gonna get my check. This engine, shit. Yeah. Shit. Turn ignition. Y'all, this is a 100% true story, y'all.
We all know what that means.
This is a 100% true story.
We all know what that means.
Yes, ma'am.
This is a 100% true story.
He turned the engine on. Because he thought she was going to be quick, so the engine was still running. He thought she was going to go in there and get it, come back.
He get out. So my dad got his jeans, he got his cowboy boots on, and he got a cowboy hat.
He do.
Reginald Martin Sr.
So he walk in, you walk in, see the hostess, she got a blaze on.
I'm crying.
You the manager?
He took his hat off?
This the look.
Oh, Lord.
You the manager?
Death stare.
She's like, no.
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 No, sir. No, sir.
Let me go get the manager. So
and shout out, no way.
so she go get the manager. He walks out. Hi, what got Henry, you want to zoom that camera out. Y'all, I ain't no actor. I gotta act this out. He pops out. What can I do for you?
I'm crying.
No! Playing with the hat.
Y'all, I'm not lying, y'all. I understand you won't give my son his check.
Not even looking at him.
I'm gonna need you to give my son his check.
Oh, not the side look.
Homeboy.
We'll be right back. I'm gonna go get the check.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No. It gets better. It's one more. So he comes out with the check.
Mm-hmm.
Tiffany don't be crying.
I really am.
He comes out with the check. Reaches out and hands the check. Take this envelope. I want you to reach out and hand it to me. You know, my dad went.
I gotta give it to the person the check belongs to.
Give it to me. Hand me a check.
Put the hat back on.
Y'all, straight ass.
Didn't even say thank you, just walked out.
No goodbye, no thank you.
No, nothing.
So I'ma need.
That's like an old cowboy movie. That's crazy.
So I'ma need any of y'all who are wondering how I roll.
Yes, sir.
Now y'all know.
The apple don't fall far from the tree.
I just want y'all to know.
Oh my God, that was funny as hell.
I just want y'all to know.
That was funny.
I want y'all to know. Y'all, that's a straight as 100%.
How much was the check?
Shit, girl, I don't know. I think like probably
Don't matter.
like $132 or something. It wasn't even. It wasn't. I mean, it was like 2-3 weeks worth. Like 2-3 weeks worth of work or something. I don't know. Man, that was.
Because he'd have been going to the cash register.
Hey.
Listen.
Yeah. Straight up. Straight up.
The rotation of the cowboy hat, though.
Straight up.
Right.
And y'all gotta understand. I'm standing here looking at the white manager going.
Oh, you in trouble, baby.
I'm like, you about to have a problem.
See what I'm saying?
And then I'm saying, I'ma leave this Negro alone.
Yes, sir.
That ain't happening.
Yeah.
So that's
the minute he stopped twirling that hat, he was gonna do something else with that right hand. That's
Didn't even look up.
Hurry up.
My man hand checked and he went. Just letting y'all know.
And the lesson in that is because you were able to see your dad demonstrate that level of power, it also formed you and made you unapologetic.
Oh, you gotta understand.
You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? So all
Please.
250,000 people watching you, whether it's in one show or whether it's over a span of time, get that courage, that courage.
No, I ain't. Y'all got. Listen, I'm gonna need y'all.
Your daddy was really the one interviewing at that town hall. That wasn't really even.
Yeah, that wasn't me. You know what? This is how.
Happy birthday, Dad.
This is how I'm gonna put a bow.
Come
on this show. How we started the show.
Mm-hmm.
This right here is gonna encapsulate all of this when you understand how you. When you are active and involved,
come on,
how you use that to get what you need.
Come on.
So I'm a freshman at Texas A&M. Brother's a sophomore. My sister goes to a high school for help freshmen in Houston. Small school. You gotta have a 3.0 to get in. She takes the SAT. I don't know. She did 1,400. I don't know what the hell it was. But because she wasn't top 10%, wasn't high enough. So she applies, she gets denied. So Gail, I remember, his name was Gail T. Wood. He signed all admissions letters. I go meet with Gail T. Wood. Now I need y'all to hear, I was a freshman in high school. No, freshman in college. I was freshman in college. Freshman in college, but
you just got there.
No, but even though I was a freshman, when I was in the 8th grade, we took over a whole organization. And yeah, I tell y'all, I've been a little different. So this is what happened. I go in, I sit down with Gail T. Wood. This is the deal. This is my sister. Blah 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 blah. He's like, well, she made the cut. She can apply next year. First of all, I didn't particularly appreciate that tone.
Right.
And he didn't fully factor in everything that I said. So, being who I am, y'all, this is absolutely no, I'm not elaborating, I'm adding stuff. I literally said, who your boss?
Well.
He went, excuse me? I said, who's your boss? Well, my boss is the associate provost. I don't know what the hell he said. I went, where's your boss's office?
Wow.
He went, oh, his office in the Coke building. Thank you very much. I got up.
Because I don't need to talk to you no more.
Nope, I'm done with your ass.
You can't give me what I want.
You can't give me what I want.
I'm going on to the man above you. It's above you now. I need to go to the person.
I walked out. I went to the Coke building, walked in, asked for so-and-so, walked in, asked for so-and-so. After I do this story, y'all, St. Aug, they done sent us an email.
Oh.
I got it. Okay. Yeah, I got it. Chair of the board sent it out. See what happened when you put that pressure on that ass, they start talking. But let me finish the story. So I go to the Coke.
Real results.
I go to the Coke building, sit down, ask for so-and-so. Secretary come out. I said, here's the deal. I'm so-and-so. My brother's a sophomore. My sister applied. Here's the whole deal. She didn't get in. I said, so yeah, we would like for her to be reconsidered and admitted. So then when she finished, she said, she took my information down. Mr. Martin, thank you very much. But then I get up and I said, when I went home, Mama and Daddy, I need y'all. Y'all been working all these damn political campaigns. Y'all been working phone banks. Y'all been putting up signs. I said, I need you to call State Senator Gallegos. I need you to call State Representative Al Luna. That's who was over where we live, neighborhood. They were state reps. I need you to have them send a letter to the president of Texas A&M today asking that their constituent be admitted to Texas A&M. I said, now, there are 31 state senators in Texas. They need Gallegos' vote for any school funding. I need y'all to do this. I need that.
You told your parents to do this?
Mom and Daddy will tell you this. I said, I need y'all to do this today. I said, I need that letter arriving in the president's office today. Next day, my ass sleep at 9 a.m. My phone ring. It was a homegirl. She said, Mr. Martin, your sister's been admitted to Texas A&M. I went, thank you very much, hung the phone up, and I was like, called home, I was like, now I'm gonna give her some scholarship money. Got that too.
You couldn't just stop at the admissions?
Hell no.
You got what you wanted.
No, I didn't.
Chill out.
No.
That money.
And you went and got admission money.
No.
Scholarship
no.
money.
See, I'm telling you, no. See, that's a mistake. See, now.
Because they stop at that.
Now I need people, no, because see, you got to get everything you want.
Yeah.
See, I ain't come here for half. No, I need everything I want. I need admissions.
What did Fannie Lou Hamer say when she got to the DNC? The Democratic Party. She said we ain't come here for no 2 seats.
No, I need.
We want the whole thing.
No, I need admissions. I need money.
2 seats ain't enough.
I need all of that. Now, I need everybody who's watching and listening to understand what I just said for you.
Wow.
Mama and Daddy put in the work on the front end to work the campaign.
That's right.
Mama and Daddy, they knew who they were when they called.
That's power.
And both of them did not want to piss off Mama and Daddy.
That's power.
Because you did not want to piss them off because they may not work for you, they may work against you.
That's power.
So I need people out there watching and listening.
Come on.
Who you think, and let me be real clear, and this is no shit, Mom and Daddy did not go to college. Mom and Daddy were high school graduates, but they worked in the community. They had jobs, took care of their families, but they cared about the community. They weren't rich. They were not donors. They were workers. So too many of us, we don't understand power. We don't understand leverage and influence. And so because of their work, they were then able to make the call. And the political folk responded. Now, because I knew, remember how I'm always talking about connecting the dots? I knew how the dots were connected. That's how that thing happened.
Come on.
See, and so then when Tiffany just said, y'all need to turn my iPad audio up. When Tiffany said, well, that's all? You wanted else? What was that scene from Malcolm X? Let me go to the iPad. Y'all turn, I done told y'all to be ready. I tell you, turn the audio up. Here we go, listen.
All right, break it up. You got what you wanted. No, I'm not satisfied. All right, break it up. You got what you wanted. No, I'm not satisfied.
I wasn't satisfied.
Come on.
And that's where a lot of us make the mistake. We get satisfied with a crumb and it ain't a meal.
Right.
So let me go ahead and read what was sent to us. This was a statement that
You're not going to say hi since they watching? Go ahead.
Yes. Hey, say all. How y'all doing? Say it again. Oh, no, it's not. There's no, let's see if this is it. Since, and let me be real clear, y'all. The only reason the board president he sent this out is because we had that town hall. He was not responsive to the community. He was not responsive to the alumni, and he was not responsive to the parents. And so this thing is dated April 24th, and the only reason this went out is because they had that meeting with the political leaders, which I called on them to do. So this is a statement from St. Augustine University's Board of Trustees Chairman Brian Boulware. In light of the misinformation circulating through social media platforms, public forums, and recent media appearances, including the town hall hosted by Roland Martin, it is time to address these claims directly and restore clarity to the public narrative surrounding St. Augustine's University. Full stop. You were invited to the town hall. The president was invited to the town hall. Y'all were invited to this show. Y'all declined to come on this show. Y'all declined to come to the town hall. So don't you dare say there was misinformation that was spread when you and the interim president and every board member had an opportunity to speak truth about what was going on, but y'all declined to do so. I'll continue. The St. Augustine's University Board of Trustees has intentionally maintained silence in recent months, not out of avoidance, but out of a sense of responsibility. By choosing restraint over rhetoric, our silence was not indifference, it was strategy. We have focused on repairing broken systems, restoring operational integrity, and navigating sensitive financial and legal matters that require discretion rather than debate. Our priority has been to secure funding, stabilize operations, and ensure the long-term survival of this historic institution. Allow me to pause. The reason, Chairman Boulware, why this is some bullshit is because when Benedict was facing accreditation issues, the president came on this show. When Barbara Scotia, when they were facing accreditation issues, they came on this show. When Morris Brown leadership was facing issues, they came on the Tom Joyner Morning Show and they talked to the public about what was going on. At Talladega, when they had the issues with the president leaving, and when my frat brother came in there, Walter Kimbrough, not before they came on this show, he and the board chair had a live stream the previous week where they answered the questions directly for more than an hour from the news media and the public. They had financial issues. They made cutbacks, but they did not run. They did not hide. They did not sit here and be silent. They chose to speak up. But see, you didn't do that. You didn't show any leadership. And let's be real clear. The only reason you sent this out today is because we put the pressure on your ass to actually do it.
Yes, sir.
The current challenges facing St. Augustine's University did not arise overnight. They are the cumulative result of a decade of administrative negligence, financial mismanagement, and a lack of accountability. The facts are as follows. Carol, pull up and let me know, when did Boulware join the Board of Trustees? Pull up how long he's been on the Board of Trustees. Because when somebody says there's been negligence for a decade, I want to know how long you've been on that board. You better hope it's not 10 years. Let me know when you have it. In 2012, university leadership took a $6 million loan against the university's $13 million endowment. No payments were made on that loan for 7 years, causing the total to balloon with interest and fees. In November 2024, the loan was called by its creditor, resulting in a loss of $11 million from the endowment. In 2016, the university received several federal grants. Approximately 90% of those funds were misused or drawn down with fraudulent documentation, severely jeopardizing our credibility with government partners. Allow me to stop right there. Here's what I want to know, Chairman Boulware. If you actually had fraudulent documentation from federal grants, that means somebody broke the federal law. Did you or any Board of Trustees call the U.S. Attorney's Office? Did y'all call the Department of Justice? Because that is breaking federal law. If you use fraudulent documentation to obtain federal grants, that is no different than the people who had PPP loan fraud, and the people, and you know what, who I know? The person who used to drive my vehicle, the person who used to do security for us, his ass got convicted of PPP loan fraud. And after I got rid of him, when I found out he was using my vehicle for private use. Whoa. Oh, yeah, see, I ain't got a problem going there. So when you say that happened, I want to know, was anybody indicted or charged with that?
2022 to 2026.
Okay, so here we go. So, all right, 2018, administrative staff coordinated with a vendor to manipulate financial records to falsify financial statements presented to the accrediting body, SAC-COC. Were any of those people turned into authorities? Were any of those people charged or indicted? That's all I want to know. In 2000, and during the COVID-19 pandemic, the university received millions of dollars in federal relief funds. No, you received $35 million in federal relief funds. I got the spreadsheet. However, university staff, say it again, Carol? Gotcha. So that's when he joined the board. Boy, you joined the board in 2018. So it said during the COVID-19 pandemic, that was 2020 and 2021. The university received millions of dollars in federal relief funds. However, university staff wired a significant portion to unknown sources, and we referred the matter to the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation, where we await further action. I'm sorry, help me out. COVID was in 2020. This is 2025. Are you meaning to tell me that that took place 5 years later? Here's what I want to know. Here's what your statement does not state, Boulware. You said we referred the matter to the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation. When? What year? How many people? You say where we await further action. Let me tell you what's going to happen. We're going to call them on tomorrow to find out what's the state of this investigation. No audits were completed from 2020 to 2024. I'm sorry. Again, Carol, can you please tell me when Brian Boulware joined the Board of Trustees of St. Augustine's? She tells me that, Brian, that you joined the Board of Trustees in 2019. The first responsibility of any member of a Board of Trustees or a Board of Governors or a Board of Directors is the financial responsibility. You are the stewards of the money. So you said between 2022 and 2020, no audits were completed from 2020 to 2024. The administration relied on pandemic-related waivers as an excuse, which masked the continued submission of inaccurate financial data. I'm sorry, how could you be on the Board of Trustees when no audits were performed? If Roland Martin is on the Board of Trustees, I'm sitting here going, when is the audit? I'm not accepting excuses. Not for no 5 damn years. No, bruh. You got to accept some responsibility for your lack of oversight. Then it says between 2022 and 2024, the administration permitted students to enroll and graduate without board approval, despite 76% of student accounts carrying balances exceeding $30,000. First and foremost, you said between 2022 and 2024. If you knew in 2022 that the administration was allowing students to graduate and they had a balance, how did it happen again in 2023? And if you knew it happened in 2023, how did it happen again in 2024? It says here, for 2020 to 2023, the administration did not pay any payroll taxes to the IRS. Despite meeting in person with the IRS during this time, the administration failed to notify the board of its critical liability information we discovered upon the termination of the previous president. I'm still not understanding this whole deal. If you are a member of the Board of Trustees and then you are seeing the documentation right here from the university, did you not have somebody double checking it? Is there a treasurer on the board? If you were sitting on the board, how could you allow, this is 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, where they did not pay payroll taxes. That's 4 years. Are you telling me that a Board of Trustees allowed for an administration to lie to them for 4 consecutive years?
You didn't read the paper?
No, bruh. That ain't flying with me. From 2021 to December 2023, the administration willingly misled the board by intentionally withholding information and submitting false financial reports, resulting in the non-compliance with several federal agencies and ultimately crippling the university's ability to operate efficiently. A legally binding document, such as an official affidavit, supports this information, resulting in the immediate termination of the principals involved. Again, from 2021 to 2023, so they misled y'all for that period of time.
2 years.
How many times does the board meet? How many? See, come on, dog. See, These issues are not allegations, they are documented realities. They represent a betrayal of public trust and a failure in leadership that has left the current board and administration to do the hard work of repair. There's plenty of blame, and many individuals who now attempt to shift blame to the current board were either silent or complicit in the past. At the same time, they held positions of power as their administration made those decisions. I still want to know how many members of the current board were sitting on the board when these things happened going back to 2012. If you are a current board member and any of this malfeasance happened while you were on the board, you should be resigning because you were not doing your job. You can't say, oh, they withheld documents from me. Nuh-uh, Reese. Reese, tell them what your background is.
Finance, business economics, and accounting.
So this is real basic. If you had board members who actually had a resume like Reese's, they would have quickly picked up on this malfeasance. So the letter says, it's critical to note that I did not join the Board of Trustees until 2019 and was elected chairman in 2024 after most of these failures had already occurred. I'm sorry, Brian, I just read your own damn letter. You said you joined the board in 2019, elected chairman in 2024 after most of these failures had already occurred. Here's the problem I have, Brian. I'm a 3-time board member of the National Association of Black Journalists. I am running again, and I'm filing paperwork by Monday for Vice President Digital. Yeah, I'm coming for some current folk. And here's what I know. If I, as a member of the Board of Trustees, if there were some financial irregularities happening with the NABJ, I, as a member of the Board of Trustees, am responsible because I was not handling my duty. You can't sit here in a letter and say, I joined in 2019, became chairman in 2024, and in the same letter, you say no audits were done. Well, first of all, you can't say during the COVID-19 pandemic, significant portions of money, unknown sources. You were on the board. COVID didn't happen until 2020. No audits completed 2020 and 2024. You were on the board. Between 2022 and 2024, administration allowed people to graduate, hadn't paid their money. You were on the board. Come on, Doc. Where is your accountability in your own letter? Nowhere in here do you accept your responsibility. In fact, you actually lie. You literally say, it is critical to note that I did not join the Board of Trustees until 2019 and was elected chairman in 2024 after most of these failures had already occurred. Your own letter says that's a lie. Furthermore, over 70% of the current board members have only served within the last 18 months. Okay, let's do the math. Today is April 24th, 2025. That means if I go back 18 months, then a year from now it's April 2024, which means 18 months is October 2023. So why do I see things that happen in 2023 and 2024, meaning these irregularities happen when most of these board members were on the Board of Trustees? We were not present when the damage was done. We have accepted the responsibility of leading the recovery. Your own letter shows that is an absolute lie. You were present. You were present for 5 years. Bruh, I read your own words. I don't know you personally, but you can't put it in your own words and then say we were not present. We includes you. It ain't we. Nevertheless, our focus is not on finger pointing, it is on rebuilding. Then it goes in the spirit of the board in that spirit, the board and our interim president has taken unprecedented steps to reverse years of decline in less than 18 months and goes through all this sort of stuff. We understand the anger, fear, and frustration many of our community feel, blah, 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 blah. The board is fully committed to the future of St. Augustus University, to its students, faculty, staff, and alumni, blah, 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 blah. That's all great. I read most of the letter, but this is very simple. You were there. It happened on your watch. And when it happens on your watch and you didn't know, this is when you do the right thing and say, clearly, the board needs a new board chair. That's what leaders do. If this level of malfeasance and financial impropriety happened on a board of trustees, and I was on that board, and I didn't know, and I wasn't aware, and it led to these issues, I could not look the membership in their faces and say, I'm gonna be the one to help get us out of that problem. Not when you were blind when it happened. And what this tells me is that you did not have the full capacity to understand your role as a member of the Board of Trustees if you could not properly discern what was going on in the administration. This is not leadership. I know you thought releasing this letter somehow you thought was showing leadership. Actually, what you did, you actually exposed that it happened under your watch. Brian Boulware, you should do the responsible thing and resign, not only as chairman of the Board of Trustees of St. Augustine's University, you should resign from the board altogether. And any board member that was on that board when any of this happened, at any period of time, they should all resign. The only way this situation gets resolved fully, fairly, and honestly is that the entire current board leaves. Your own statement exposes your lack of awareness and proper governance. It's time to go for the benefit of St. Augustine University, its students, its faculty, its staff, its alumni, for Raleigh, the state of North Carolina, and for HBCUs in this country. This is your own personal failure. Tiffany, Reese, Greg, thanks for being on today's show. We went long, but we appreciate it. Folks,
Thanks for having me.
If y'all want to support what we do here, Roland Martin Unfiltered, y'all see how we roll. You see how we roll. We make no excuses. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. Use the QR code for Strike Cash for Cash App contributions. It's right here. You're listening on BlackStarNetwork.com. Make a check and money order out to Roland Martin Unfiltered. Send it to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037 0196. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Download the Black Star Network app, Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. Be sure to get a copy of my book, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds, available at bookstores nationwide. Be sure to get our Roland Martin Unfiltered Black Star Network gear, hats, t-shirts, mugs, of course, our new shirts. Go to rolandmartin.creator-spring.com. The QR code is there. Or go to the blackstarnetwork.com. Also, folks, be sure to download the app. Fan base. If you want to invest in this fan base, go to startengine.com/fan base. And let me also shout out, I'm going to be in Houston tomorrow. I'm speaking tomorrow night at an event there of some community organizers. My man, Freddie Haynes, is going to be one of the speakers, but I'm also going to be the keynote speaker. So I'm looking forward to being there. And so I hope y'all could, if you're in Houston, you can join us. Y'all know we're going to do what we do. And I got a word for the folk who are going to be there. And y'all know I ain't going to hold back at all because I wasn't raised to hold back. All right, so here it is. Let me pull up right here, and then we out of here because I'm late for dinner. I know I got a dinner appointment. I'm late. It's been that way. I've been busy all day. Here we go right here. Folks, I'm going to be at the Bell Tower on 34th. Go to championsofchangegala.com. championsofchangegala.com for tickets. QR codes there as well. Folks, that's it. I'll see you tomorrow from my hometown of H-Town on my dad's 78th birthday. Until then. Holla! Network is here.
Oh, no punch! I'm real revolutionary right now.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black
on media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?